Raffaele. I'm the Senior Director of IT and OT Infrastructure at American Water. Who are we, right? American Water, we're probably the largest company you've never heard of or maybe have. We are the largest water and wastewater utility in the US, publicly traded. We're 135 years old and we're coast to coast. So our footprint is huge and it's really a regulated entity, right? About 1 billion gallons of fresh water pumped a day, and that's across all of our regulated footprint, 6,400 employees, and really what our water quality and our folks are proud of is those 25 plus, right? 25 years receiving water quality awards, being really top above what else is going on in the industry. Just a quick map. This is basically our regulated footprint, everything in blue. So like I said, coast to coast. We are primarily regulated operations, so regulated water, wastewater operations, just like most other critical infrastructure, most utility. In gray is where we have what we call reg-like or non-regulated operations. So it really covers our footprint. We even have Hawaii, some wastewater in Hawaii. So one day I'll get out there. I have not been there, but eventually they'll let me go. The reg-like part of our business is our military services. So, we're extremely proud that we manage the water and wastewater systems on 17 military bases. That line it continues to grow. Those are 50-year contracts. So we're heavily embedded there. And from a security standpoint, we have DFARS and we have a lot of the stuff that any military contractor would have, all alongside of being a regulated water and wastewater utility. So, before I kind of get into hey, this was really cool. This is how we converged, right? So let's sort of dig into the dirty work, right? Let's talk about the wet work of what had to happen to get to where we are today. When we started this journey about 2 years ago, I said, our chief operations officer, our CEO, our COO, they couldn't tell you, even though we published that we pump about 1 billion gallons a day. God bless you. We didn't have any data to show that. I mean, we could do it manually, right? We could sort of add up everything, because we're really a conglomeration of tons and tons of water and wastewater treatment facilities. So localized and disparate systems, right? SCADA systems, OT systems that grew either from acquisition or just grew up over time. So operationally inefficient, right? And I'm going to show you later, no two systems look the same. We weren't clearly focusing the operator on an issue. I'll show you some of our, pictures of our old SCADA screens. I call them the Christmas trees because they're red and green, and they're really, really pretty, and there's lots of animation, but they're not really good at focusing our operators on what's wrong, right? And drawing that attention. We couldn't provide really a state level or an enterprise level view. This, again, very disparate systems. So we really had to pull that together. And then not mobile ready, right? Just like a lot of other folks, we're dealing with an aging workforce. We have lots of people retiring out as water, wastewater plant and treatment operators. We have young folks coming in. And the newer, they want to be mobile. They don't want to sit in the control room staring at a screen. And quite frankly, from an operational standpoint, we don't want them doing that either. We would rather them be out on the floor doing things like preventative maintenance and being a mobilized operator rather than sitting in a control room just watching the screens all day. So 2 years ago, I said we started this journey. We had to pick a strategy. Personally, I've been at American for 15 years. I actually left American about 2.5 years ago and came back specifically to do this. So I spent most of my career as IT and cybersecurity, helping all the industrial controls folks. But we had conversations with the chief executive and chief operations officer, and they agreed that we really needed to take a top-down look at our industrial controls, right? They agreed that we needed to start putting the same rigor that we have on the IT side onto our OT side. So, I had lots of strategy sessions, looked around, landed on inductive automation, right, on the Ignition platform. And We did that because we were looking for a platform, right? I was not looking for a sort of culmination of point products under an umbrella. And that's really what we felt the power of Ignition was. Top-down approach, right? I said it started with air cover, right? It started with conversations with senior leadership. And then we went ahead and we deployed, right? So we, quickly we deployed sort of our foundational infrastructure, that secure pipeline, MQTT, from the plant floor up to the enterprise, with the edict that you don't have to just build a new plant system. We'll integrate what you have, and we'll give you the capabilities to build new when you're ready. And be inclusive, right? So we have a center of excellence. We bring people from all facets of American Water, including our partner integrators, Flexware, ACC. Those all coming together both solve business problems and come up with new ideas. Kevin McClay, you birthed this architecture, right? So this is an eye chart, but this is really what it looks like. We are as an operational organization, right? We're NIST cybersecurity framework. We're highly segmented. We're very, we put all the controls in place that are due. So we had to have an infrastructure and an ecosystem that supported our cyber platform. So we had the conversations with Kevin and Inductive early on. Said, hey, look, I need to make sure that this fits how we do business. Absolutely, right? Break the components apart, scale the ecosystem, and build that connectivity model so we're ready to go. So, this was really key. We first built this, and then what we did was, and I'll show you next, once we laid down, I'll call it the train tracks, the secure train tracks, more importantly, then we were able to start bringing the data up from the plant. So fondly, ultimately we built two solutions, all based on Ignition. First is the enterprise portal. When I tell you the Christmas tree look, right, the bottom is really what we look like in our plants. I don't have two plants that look the same. They are extremely disparate. The gray box in the middle is that, it's really the representation of all that secure infrastructure, all of that pipeline infrastructure. It brings that data up into an enterprise portal that's available for our entire enterprise. Everybody has access to it. And it rationalizes the data, right? So we, again, while we were building that, we had lots of conversations about data model and nominating KPIs and what the data should look like in the platform so that we could get that common view. And that common view is really what all of our teams are now starting to embrace and starting to use, and they're not going to the SCADA teams and the operations folks for data. So when I talked about it before, when we talk about being operationally efficient, if you think about our water quality or engineering folks, they're constantly going to the SCADA teams for data, right? Now they self-serve. They don't even have to bother those people. Those people, the SCADA teams and the operational teams, get their day back because now all the other teams who need access to data, including operations, have all the data they need and they can get it. At the same time, right, everything we did, everything we put together, translated into new SCADA HMIs. So same look and feel as the portal, same graphic style, all ISA 101, right, high performance HMI based. And now we were able to sort of fill that edict that we started with, which is we'll connect to what you have now, and we'll give you the skid and all the tools you need when you're ready to build a new plant. So we have multiple plants connected and multiple plants in flight as new Ignition plants. But now we have a consistent look and feel both across the enterprise, at the state level, at the plant level, and it matches with what we're doing really all the way through the organization. The other key here is that highly mobilized now. So now, whether it's at the enterprise organization, enterprise level, or it's at the plant level, right? It looks no different on this than it does on an iPad, than it does on a laptop. And that is now changing the way our folks in the field operate. All right, so the integration, right? Why did we do this? Well, we did all that dirty work so that we could do this, right? So that we could get the data off the floor, whether it's production data, whether it's distribution data, whether it's sensor data, whatever, even production meter data, right? Get that all off the plant floor, keep it in the SCADA system, bring it up securely, and now we use the portal as an integration point to everything. So in the top left corner, that's a cloud app. So one of the things that we do in the plant, right? Every plant does this, right? People do data sampling, right? Clipboard type work. So we replaced the pencil, right? That is a pure just cloud application where people can enter data, but they don't just always have to enter it. Wherever there's SCADA data available, we pump it into the application. So all they have to do is just look at it. Yep, this looks consistent. I'll move on about my day. So we eliminate that redundancy. Our data lake, right? We're in the process of starting to feed our data lake for really that advanced analytics now. Stuff we want to do. We want to look at chemical usage and power usage, right? Non-revenue water. How do we drive down the non-revenue water challenge in that problem? That data we used to pull out of the plant before was somebody would copy it into a spreadsheet, put it on a thumb drive, bring it. Now we're driving it in, or have the ability to drive that into our data lake and do advanced analytics on it really on the fly. And then feed our ERP, right? So some of the activities that seem like they should be table stakes for a water utility is, again, how much water are we producing? Well, before, the plant operators would manually enter that into SAP or into our other systems. Now, we bring that data directly out of the SCADA systems, right? Take it right off of flow meters, bring it up through ignition, and pump it directly into the ERP system. Now all the operators have to do is just do a sanity check, make sure the numbers look good, and so that's a huge time savings for them because they were spending hours a day doing all the calculations and typing the data in manually. So, look, this stuff it's dirty, right? It's dirty and it's challenging. Culture. The biggest challenges is culture. And I always say that, it's the aversion to rate of change, which is why you gotta slow roll this a little bit. IT, OT security, I think Craig showed it before, right? Different priorities, still siloed in many places, and competing priorities, right? OT systems, they favor availability and safety, right? IT systems, we favor concurrency, we favor connectivity. But at the end of the day, this is where, this is where we start to overcome those challenges. The air cover, right? The way you start to break down culture is with air cover. I talked about that a little bit before. Have all the right pieces in place. Be patient. You can drive change slowly, right? I like the how do you boil a frog, right? Do it slowly. People get really scared when you talk about mass change. So we lit small fires. We small wins. We went to the smaller states in our footprint, the states that don't have a lot of technology capabilities, and we were able to build it small. Let everybody see it, feel it, and then we would use those COEs and multiple show sessions to say, hey, this is cool. Okay, I get it. And by the way, I see that it does this. Can you also add these other features? Because that would really help. Okay, that's great. Even though that we already had that idea in our heads, it came from them, and now they feel like it's their idea, so they're contributing. That is how we have grown this into the ecosystem that is today, and it's continuing to grow. We constantly have good feedback, and we constantly have people coming to us with new features. Hey, I would love to be able to do, this system versus this system. Can you guys, do things like turn a trend line into a chart, right? Those are all features that came from the users, and are now in the system. So light small fires, right? Be okay with making change, but take your time, right? Do it at a small scale. That's it. That's it. Thank you very much.